The following program is sponsored by Happy Science.
Hello, and thank you for accepting our invitation to happiness. I'm Mariko, and I'm so excited to bring you Season 3 of Invitation to Happiness because this time I'm here with my friends.
Hi, I'm Yushi.
Hi, I'm Dylan. And in this program, we'll be discussing the teachings of the living Buddha and modern savior, Master Ryuho Okawa. Master Okawa's lectures have been spread to over 100 countries around the world, and he's recorded over 3,100 of those lectures and published 2,600 books.
Season 3, it's going to be a little different tone. We're going to be focusing more into Master Ryuho Okawa. Who is he as a modern savior and his global message, which I believe is really necessary in these times.
Yes, which leads us to today's topic, which is the new resurrection.
And the meaning of the phrase, the new resurrection, is that Master Okawa experienced death and rebirth as the savior.
But before we dive into today's episode, let's first go to the streets of New York and ask the question, if the savior was living now, what would he be doing?
Probably running for president.
I don't think there's gonna be a savior coming around.
I think they will be doing very selfless things, so like helping other people, helping the community.
Probably would be a similar kind of thing, a people person, would look out for others.
I think it'd just be an eye-opener for the world, and people will hopefully understand like he was when he was here hundreds and hundreds of years ago.
The people that are willing to wake up themselves for the benefit of others.
So there's a lot of different opinions and ideas of what a savior would be doing in this modern age.
Famous saviors from the past are usually from like 2,000 or 3,000 years ago. So it's such a quite different era now. So I don't think he would just be a spiritual leader.
Well, what better time for a savior to come than now? We have so many crazy things happening in this world. The coronavirus pandemic, the economic recession, so much uncertainty. And it seems now people are turning to the savior, or now's the time to turn to a savior.
And so Master Ryuho Okawa, as Dylan explained in the earlier part, he said that he's a modern savior. But Master Okawa, when he started this spiritual movement, he didn't start out with that feeling, right? With that recognition. There is this certain incident that occurred, the new resurrection. And so the video that we're about to watch now is an excerpt of him giving a lecture of what occurred to him, the incident that made him aware that he is a modern savior. Let's watch it.
It happened 2004, May the 14th. At that day, I had a heart attack at that time. And next day, I'm not sure, but I'm healthy or not. So I went to the hospital at the first time. And at that time, I walked around the hospital and checked a lot of section of my body. And when I checked my heart, the doctor called my wife and said, he is already a dead man. My wife upset. Really? He was walking around this hospital, but you said he's a dead man. Why? She asked. Because my heart, under part of my heart didn't work at the time, but I was still alive at the time. It's a miracle. So, in medical meaning, I was a dead man, almost dead man at that time. The doctors declared I'm almost dead. It's a miracle. We can't believe this fact. He must die tonight, they said. At the time, I was shocked. But next morning, the doctor was miserable. I was still alive, and I was writing a letter to my children at that time. I had to be died at that time, but I am not a physical man. They didn't know that. I was a mission itself, so I couldn't die.
The pain was as if a crow was digging its claws into my heart and clutching it tightly on my car ride home. At the time, I asked my secretary to play the CD of the Dharma of the Right to Mind in the car. And when I got home, I was walked to my room and slept for 30 minutes with the CD playing in the background. Then I started feeling better, like I was okay to go. The following day, on a Saturday morning, I somehow felt that I should get a physical exam done as soon as possible. I hadn't experienced any problems with my body, but I just simply felt, let's just go for my checkup today instead of Monday. And so I went. The doctor put me on the bed and took an X-ray of my upper body. As he showed me the image, he said, "Do you see the white space covering your heart and lungs? Do you know what that cloudiness indicates? It's all fluid. Your chest from the heart to the lungs is overflowing with fluid." He continued saying, if you look at the lower part of your heart, you can see that the large amounts of liquid has stopped your heart from contracting. It means there's no blood flowing in. Do you know what it means when blood stops flowing? It means that your condition is equal to a dead person. I was nodding along as I listened, but I was completely lost about what was going on. I was conscious, but apparently my blood wasn't flowing. In any case, after the doctors saw the results from all the tests they did, they said to me, "It is impossible for a normal person to be alive in the condition that you're in." I had no idea what they were saying. That's because I was perfectly fine until the day before. It is true I experienced some sensations that resembled a crow digging its claws into me and clutching my heart. But as soon as I started listening to the Dharma of the Right to Mind CD, the sensation disappeared, so I thought I was cured. Doctors were confident that the sensation of claws digging into my heart and clutching it tightly was due to a myocardial infarction. They also believed I should have been dead when I was walking around my garden on the previous day. Such assumptions are hard to believe, but the doctors insisted. You had a heart attack, so it's impossible for you to be alive today. It did not make sense to me because I had walked to the dining room by myself to have lunch and dinner after it happened. But medically speaking, I should have collapsed and died right then.
Every time I pray the Dharma of the Right Mind, it helps me a lot. And I think that's how I become more and more close to Happy Science and Master's teachings. One time, my little brother, he was a newborn, and he was, sick, and the doctor told my mom to give him some medication when he got fever. So my mom, she gave the medication, and like 20, 30 minutes later, he was not responding. At that time, my mom, she called me and she said, we need to do something. And she said, well, we should pray. And I was like, Mom, I think maybe we should take him to the hospital, because he's not breathing. And then she's like, well, I don't want to take him right now to the hospital because they're going to do a lot of testings. And we start praying the Dharma of the right mind over and over. She was scared, and so do I, but I thought that at that moment, we need to be strong for my mom. And I knew that prayer helps me. Every time I breathe in and breathe out, it usually burns my throat and because of I'm always sick. But I knew that the prayer, it was good for me. And I feel comfortable, I feel like connected. So at that time, I was like, if it helps me, it will help my little brother as well. So then we start praying. And we are watching him, and we start praying like, nonstop. After a while, he was start, responding and he start like, crying a little bit. And then we felt that, he was getting better. And so she has faith that he would be better if we do the prayer. So at that time, I realized that, this prayer is very powerful and we are in the right track. Like we found a religion that can save us.
First off, I'm just so astonished to the fact that there is a man who is living while his heart stopped beating. And then, so you go to the top-notch, a first-class hospital in Tokyo, and a very famous, prominent doctor was there.
I believe he wrote 300 books before his death, and after his death, over 2,300 books. So just astonishing.
One of our members, Fabia, she was explaining this sutra, the true words spoken by Buddha. Such a powerful sutra.
Yeah, that sutra, it's really powerful. I've been reciting it every day since it came out, the day it came out, and it's really made me so happy.
Really energizes you, right?
Right, definitely.
All right, so next video clip, the reason why Master Ryuho Okawa, why didn't he die? He used the power of his mind, which we'll be learning in the next clip. Let's watch it.
Even the doctor said, you are a dead man. I didn't believe that I can arrive, I can work again, I can do everything. So this is the truth. So I sometimes say to you that your mind is very important. Your body is a secondary one. Your mind is first. Mind makes your body. So your body doesn't control your mind. You should be the controller of your mind. You can control your mind 100%. In every circumstances, you can be king of your own kingdom. So believe me, this is the truth.
I strongly believed that my mind is the controller of my body. Even when there were changes or problems to my physical body, I believed strongly that my mind is the controller, my mind is the ruler of my body. The power of my mind was much stronger.
If a modern savior is here now, one of his most important messages would be, you're not a physical being. What you think is who you are.
And he's not just a self-help author, right? He's not just teaching us affirmations, but he actually practiced it himself.
But also that teeny bit of resurrection we can have ourselves. And through really, really believing the mind over the body, it defies science, it defies common sense. And I think that's the challenge of our times right now.
And so the next video we'll be watching is Master recollecting his memory, what he felt that night when he was told that he's a dead man, he might die the next day. And after that, we'll be watching a testimony of one of our members of knowing what happened to Master Okawa. So let's watch it.
I think before I fell seriously ill in 2004, I gave around 900 lectures and published 300 books. But now it's becoming clear that I will have given 3,000 lectures by the year's end, 2019. That means that I have given over 2,000 lectures since falling ill. I've also given 130 or so lectures in English and continue to carry out a multitude of other projects. In short, a man who was told, "You are a dead man," later published over 2,200 books, including translations. The impossible happened, and that is for sure. I had already been interacting with spirits from the world after death for over 20 years. It's part of my job in publishing their messages. They had been helping me during my lectures also. I was actually already having communications with people in the afterlife, and I am sure that there isn't anyone else who knew about both life and death any more than I did. So in truth, I had no fear in terms of life and death that any normal person might have. Usually, people think that death is the ultimate end and may feel like that is the end of the world. To me, death is not a distant world, but more like a world right outside my window. As soon as I opened the window, it would take me straight into the afterlife. This is the kind of life I've been living. So it would be embarrassing if I feared death. Told myself I'm ready to die any time. It could be 1 year later, 3 years later, or even 5 years later. And each and every day, I was ready to reset my life. Like so, I was living so that I was ready to die at any moment. So at this point, I cannot say confidently that I was able to see my future. And the discussions about my health from a worldly perspective made me anxious. Either way, I told myself I'll live by the motto, today is my whole life. And of course, die for the truth. I believed that I was given another life and I wanted to do as much as I could. This may have looked like I was suicidal, or this willingness to die could have been what kept me alive. But the more I pushed myself with the willingness to die, the stronger my body became. This is strange indeed. I was surprised how far I kept going. Cannot fully explain it, but during that lonesome night, I was thinking about the whole city, the whole world, and various other things. My mind wandered and thought about the lifestyles of various families, the politics in Japan, the mass media, education, and also the people living all around the world. People in countries where there are risks of war and so on. I had thought that the work that I had done was the extent of what I could do. But when I thought about the world, there was a tremendous amount of work that needed to be done. I thought, if I truly believe that I am El Cantare, then I need to accomplish more than what Buddha and Jesus did. I felt that maybe I had not done as much yet, and that I needed to level up my work. I still feel this way today. I felt like I had lived a few lives in this lifetime already. But since I'm rarely born into this world, I decided I should live as voraciously as I could now that I was here.
I made up my mind to become a savior from Buddha. I was a Buddha, and I'm now a real Buddha. But I need to be a savior. This whole world, universe, gave me another life and told me I have remaining mission. Please spread these lectures to all over the world. This is my desire and my work and my mission. So I made up my mind to lay down my life. So I want to go abroad and spread this lecture to the end of this life.
So even just watching the movie the first time, I was so touched and so blown away. But to learn the real story of what happened to Master, it takes me to a place that I feel is like beyond the most sacred imagination we could have, you know? Like, for instance, like we think of Jesus on the cross, right? And resurrecting. Like, to have Master have his own heart, have his heart stop, like not beating at all, and to completely live through that. It's beyond, like, imagination. And Master's actually living it. I could feel just the power of wanting to live your life for others. And I'm just trying to understand more and more, like, the depth of Master's life.
He decided to die for the truth. And then he started to think about the world. And then when he did that, I felt like that's when the mission really began.
So the last part of today's episode, we will be watching an excerpt from the lecture, Be Positive, the one he gave in Hawaii. It was his very first lecture that he gave to, in a way, proclaim that he is a modern savior, or Alcantara is the modern savior. And I want you to feel the vibrations of his words. Let's watch it.
I sent Gautama Buddha 2,500 years ago, and I sent Jesus Christ 2,000 years ago, and I sent Muhammad 1,400 years ago. And it was written in the law of the sun. The very difficult but very important and very crucial contents are written in these words. I am just a storyteller or liar or a savior. You must choose one. Conclusion, one. Storyteller or liar or a savior. I want to be, I desire to be the third one. Because I love everybody. I came here on earth to love everybody. You all loved me, have been loved me more than 1,000 years. So I came here. You have many sufferings, but be strong. Be brave. Be positive in your life. Be powerful. Be constructive. Love is strongest power in this world. There are no enemies. If El Cantare are with you, there are no enemies. I already promised you. I'm with you every day, everywhere from now on. So believe in me and my teachings.
This lecture in Hawaii, it was the first lecture he gave since overseas since he experienced his death. So he went to Hawaii fully knowing that he could be dying anytime.
If you want to watch the full video of the lectures that we saw today, you can watch it at our temple. So please come by our temple and to watch a full video and just feel the words of a modern savior in this 21st century.
So we truly hope to see you very soon here at New York Temple.
If you would like to learn more about Okawa and the teachings of happy science, visit invitationtohappiness.org or call us at 929-323-4737. Here at New York Temple, you'll find all of Okawa's publications and video lectures. We are here to support you in building a bright future. Come join us for weekly Sunday workshops and weekday guided meditations. Also, please find us on Facebook and YouTube by searching Happy Science New York. Your happiness is our mission.
Once again, thank you for accepting our invitation to happiness. In our next episode, we will be exploring the concept of the Creator. So see you next time.
I'm not done yet. I still have a lot of work to do. So I will not die until I fulfill my mission. Do you believe faith can cure illness or not?
Rated PG.
The preceding program was sponsored by Happy Science.